Hello everybody, welcome to this week's Q&A. This week we're looking at an interesting question that usually comes up with our clients that bring in fancy new smartwatches, and they have the ability to track their heart rate, look at their resting heart rate during the day, and have some questions about that. So we'll try and answer some here. Obviously we are not medical professionals, and if you want some really deep dives on this type of stuff, find a doctor that you like, go ahead and ask them a question, see what they tell you. But from a general standpoint, resting heart rate is a great indicator. This is what the question is. Indicator of a lot of things. Normal top of the line things that you can look at is your amount of conditioning. If you're a relatively well-conditioned person, you're going to have a lower resting heart rate. If you're a person who is more out of shape, you have a higher resting heart rate, simply because your body is doing more work to keep itself moving, going during the day, and you're not used to that struggle. So your body is going to have a higher resting heart rate, and just from having less conditioning. Another thing you can look at is stress. This is an important one for a lot of people. People who have high stress jobs usually carry a higher resting heart rate. So if you go ahead and see your heart rate is relatively high when it's at resting state, and you've noticed that you have more stress in your life lately, or some significant amount of stress in your life that is constantly there, that can be a factor for you, and you might need to look into some way of reducing your stress, some type of way of mitigating stress. And there's a lot of other things we can do for that, but that's a different question, different conversation altogether. Another good thing that you can look at for resting heart rate is your breathing patterns. So this is one that not a lot of people are going to look to. It's a great point to make here, because it kind of falls outside the weeds on a lot of conversation with resting heart rate. But if you are a diaphragmatic breather, it means you're breathing with your stomach, you're breathing with your diaphragm, you're generally going to have a lower resting heart rate than if you're a chest breather, breathing with your ribs up in your chest. There is a natural reflex in your body that when you're breathing through your diaphragm, breathing into your stomach, helps to activate that responsive reflex, and it causes your heart rate to come down. This is why when people are upset, we ask them to breathe. We don't want them to breathe in their chest. We want them to take big, deep breaths, right? And big, deep breaths usually involve your diaphragm. So if you've learned to be a diaphragmatic breather, that will definitely help to reduce your resting heart rate and your general heart rate overall.